Do you want to watch a YouTube video?
Yeah, the pineapple.
Okay, this little segment is for my troll friends. Trolling, trolling, trolling. Keep those trucks a trolling. So, this is for the guys, or guy, that the wannabe welders that really need to see every single thing you're doing because they ain't got a freaking clue what they're even doing. To be honest with you, they shouldn't even be watching my videos at this point, unless it's for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, you got to have some kind of knowledge in TIG welding before you're going to really get anything from my videos, probably. But if I may, I will forego and do it baby steps for those who have never ever put one of these in their hand. This is the angle I've chosen to use. This is my technique. This is how I've set up to go. Whee! Yep. Ta-da! Yeah. So that'll get you leaps and bounds ahead of the crayons that you're currently choosing to chew on. Dip, 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 ding! Yeah, it's going to need about 9 inches. Yeah, that's about right. Hey, what's up, YouTube fam? On today's episode of Tiggin with Tony, I'm going to show you how to align a keyway that has to be squared with the square face of a block. So what we done, we had made the keyway, and it has to have a stop position and this end part. So I guess we're going to call it the end part. That's not the technical name, but that's getting away from our video. But so what I've done is made the marks measurement here and carried over my line here, as you can see, with the keyway on the inside, and marked it on the face the same diameter, and put it in a vise. And now we'll tack it, and then we will give it a weld around. We're just going to do a little tack up here, and then we're going to run our weld. My hand not obscuring. Try not to do that. Alright, now we're going to run our first weld. Remember, we're keeping it clamped together to keep any pull. Let me turn it like this, so maybe my hand won't obscure, even though you're not going to be able to see exactly what I'm doing, because I don't have that special camera that captures everything like that. But if it is what it is. Need a little more amperage. I was at 160. I'm going to go ahead and max out at 200 and control the rest with the foot pedal. I used every bit of it. I used all 200 amps of that. Now I'll switch it around and do the back side, the opposite. Rest. I'll be honest with you, I could go hotter with this. This is a really dense piece of metal and it takes a lot of heat, but it's getting the job done. But if I really wanted to go crazy with it, I could put the torch on this and get the temperature, you know, about 800 degrees or so, and it would run a little bit easier, I would say. I would run a little bit faster, and the faster you run it, the more consistent you'll be. The more consistent your steps, instead of having the longevity of you holding it in one place gives you more opportunity to make a mistake. And for the final pass on this part. And holding the gas over, letting it cool down just enough before I remove the gas shield from it. I remember watching those hot rod videos on, what was it, Discovery and all those. Well, not necessarily Texas Metal. Actually, that is like 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. But shows like, what was the one, American Chopper, and the Jesse James show he had where he was making the different things. I appreciated a lot of what they did, but their TIG welding, I was always like, because I was working with Metro Aviation, I was the only FAA PMA certified TIG welder in North Louisiana, and I was very critical about TIG welding, as I still am, and I would watch them run a weld and immediately lift off and do it like it was still red right there, and I'm like, oh man. Or just not slowly lifting off with the tungsten, have a little hole right there, a little suck hole, and I'm like, oh boy. Now, as you can see, that is good and square. The surface back there, flat surface, good and square. It's German. Fragile. That must be Italian. So as you can see, I've decided to go ahead and put some preheat just so I can get a little bit more consistent weld, a little less cooling down time. So, and I'll use an 800 degree temp stick. Tony, how are you going to move it now? It's so hot. It's very simple. You know, I just wasn't excited about those welds, so I'm going to preheat this to about 400, and if I'm still not excited, I'll preheat it to 200, and we're going to get it right. Just something about the way it flows I was just not happy with. This is at 400 degrees preheat. It's better. Now I'm going to let it cool down to 200 degrees and try it again. Okay, 200 degrees preheat. That's probably as good as it's going to get, because I went and asked the question, and yes, we're dealing with two different hardnesses of steel. Both are weldable, but they cool down at slightly different times, so you got to be, it's real finicky. Okay, now I want to illustrate what will happen to your weld with a harder metal versus a softer metal when you do not preheat it or do not preheat it enough. See right down the middle of the weld? Let me see if I can stable this camera while I show it to you. Right there. See that crack? Right there's a crack. Right through there. Okay, and this one I added just a little heat to it. Not as much cracking, but still in the very center there is a hairline crack. You can see it up top. You can see it a quarter of the way through. You can see it reappear again about a little past midway through. If you were to run a Zyglow test or any kind of stress crack developer, you would see this a lot more prevalent. Now, here's a weld with the proper preheat. Absolutely zero cracking whatsoever. Now, you have to watch these kind of welds whenever you go from having a shelf to no longer having a shelf with this thick of metal and dissimilar tensile strength. With dissimilar hardness, that you start to lose the structural integrity as you get out towards where you no longer have a shelf and the temperatures change. This stuff is very critical. It's almost like welding titanium. And here we are with the weld that had initially a crack in it, but we ground it out and re-welded it at the right temperature.
No.
This has been a Mike Oxmall production.